Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest transfer news as we discuss the continuing transfer circus that emanates out of Manchester United. Even something there about Cristiano Ronaldo and Bayern Munich. Look, if Cristiano Ronaldo leaves Manchester United, it'll be because he's as pissed off with the lack of activity and ambition as we are. So we can discuss that, but we will be talking about David Ornstein, a very good transfer journalist in general, saying that he expects it's more likely that De Jong will sign for United than not sign for United, but it could be a long and painful process for United fans. Also the latest on Eriksen, Antony and many other stories as we go through another day and approach D-Day tomorrow, Dividend Day tomorrow, where the Glazers will take £11 million out of the club. The first signing of the summer, the first expenditure of the summer is going to be to the Glazers. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But before we get into that, and I'm sure you've got a lot to say, you will see on my left that we're sponsored by the OneFootball app. You'll have heard me talk about the OneFootball app loads of times, which begs the question, why aren't you downloading it and using it for all your latest football and transfer news? It's absolutely fantastic. You can see it on the screen there, where we should be on the screen there. I use OneFootball as my number one destination for football news, transfer updates, player data, and of course the latest match day scores, but transfer news mainly at the moment. I don't know what magic they've gone at OneFootball, but I always get my score notifications fast on OneFootball when the season's up and running. So if you want to be the most informed football fan in the world, then head to the description or scan the QR code on screen and download OneFootball totally for free today. That's how it works. It's free to use. You can scan the QR code, give it a try for all your latest news in one place. Thank you very much to OneFootball as always for sponsoring the show, and check it out. It helps the channel out. But let's fly into this. So I'm going to, I don't know really where to start. I mean, I think I probably feel the same as most of you do at the moment. It's beyond excuse. It's beyond, it's fine. It's beyond, we've got a plan. There's a story from Portugal today that Cristiano Ronaldo believes in Erik ten Hag, but he's pulling his hair out at the lack of transfer activity. Now, whether that's true or not, because you have to take Portuguese reports with a pinch of salt, but actually, it's pretty much how the fans feel. It's very much how I feel. I'm completely excited about Erik ten Hag, and I want this man to be the manager, but I'm completely fed up with the lack of transfer activity. And I think I wouldn't blame Ronaldo if he did feel like that. I wouldn't blame it if any ambitious player at Manchester United was sat there going, what are we doing? Because we are beyond the whole excuse point now. Oh, they're working 12 hours a day to get transfers done. They really want to be successful. They want Manchester United to be successful. It's only week 2 of the transfer window. But in 3 days' time, people are coming back to training. In 3 days' time, some of these new signings could have been training with us. A week after that, the internationals will be back. We're not going to sign players to be training with us. We've wasted an opportunity. A brand new manager, you should be a new manager is a signal of intent. And what should follow a new manager is signings that send a message out to everybody else. And actually, we've missed the trick. We've missed the trick with our fans. We've missed the trick with the wider football. We've missed the trick with the rivals because everybody's laughing at us. And that's why I've said Ten Hag's transfer circus, because we are a clown act. We are being laughed at. Our rivals are going, well, that's it, Ten Hag, that's all they've got. And even if they do get people now, they're not going to get them implemented in time. It's farcical, it really is. Time to give up on Frankie. It's ruined our so-called rebuild. Go get Tillemans for only 25, says Michael Gibbs. Scooby-Doo, me and the wife are in the Highlands for our 7th year wedding anniversary. Congratulations, Luke82. I hope you're having a good time. And Zach, thank you very much for the super chat. But there is some updates to give you. I'm going to start off with David Ornstein. He was speaking about Frankie de Jong, and he said that there's more chance of it happening than not. You never know what's going to happen, but basically saying he thinks it will happen. But what he did say is, Barcelona need the money to be able to spend it, but it could be a long and painful process for Manchester United and Manchester United fans. And this is the deal. Welcome to the Members Club, Godwin. This is the deal, remember, that we keep being told by the club through their journalists that they're not going to do any other business until they do De Jong. So if De Jong's going to be a long and painful process, are we not going to do any business until we've sorted out De Jong? And it's enough to give you high blood pressure. It really is. What are we doing and why are we doing this? Why can we not buy other players? Are they like... I was thinking about this afternoon. Are they thinking if they spend 25 million on Sangare, Barcelona will go, right, we want 100 for De Jong now? If we'd bought Darwin Núñez for 80 million, I could understand Barcelona saying we want 100 million for De Jong. But we're not after any player that Barcelona are going to go, oh my God, you've spent £100 million on Timber. We want £300 million for De Jong. Like, that's the only reason not to spend money before De Jong. Because you think that, oh, it'll make Barcelona knock the price up. But we're not in for a player that's close to the price of De Jong. So why are we not spending money and still working on De Jong? I'll never understand this one. And I don't think they can explain it. Because I don't think, I've heard nobody has given a really good reason as to why we won't spend any other money until we bought De Jong. Apart from money-saving exercises whereby if we don't buy De Jong for a while, we don't have to pay his wages. And if we don't buy anybody else till after De Jong, we don't have to pay their wages. So basically, we're saving ourselves $1 million in wages a month or a week or something like that. It can only be stupidity like that. But the hilarious thing is that Paul Hurst was on about this today in the Times, just tonight actually. He said that Antony is convinced that it will be a Manchester United player, even though Ajax have slapped a £69 million fee on him and United thought they were going to pay 40. Well, even if 69's a bit over the top, it's still 20 million more than we were expecting to pay. And we're going to pay more because Ajax have sold half their team and they don't want to sell anymore. So, again, what do we think we're doing saving money by waiting on transfers? Mark, we need a CDM more than anything. De Jong is a box-to-box player. Yes, Mark, we'll check out my video I did this morning. Very good, and gives you an insight into that. Oh, it's frozen now. Okay, yeah, these clowns said they'd not be held to ransom and wanted to repair reputation in the market, but they've put the reputation 6 feet under. Even Ajax, a selling club, is holding us to ransom. They're prats, says Gabriel Noel. This delay is slowly killing all hope of the project we had a month ago, says Aditya. Look, you know what? They're not my mates. They're not your mates. They are employees of our football club. I thought Richard Arnold came across really well last week. I'm willing to give John Murter a chance, but right here, right now, you're in the Glazer club, lads. You know, you're the CEO of Manchester United. There's 11 million quid going to the Glazers tomorrow. You're the director of football of Manchester United. There's 11 million quid going to the Glazers tomorrow. It's not a good look. You're in control of transfers. What the hell are you doing? Nobody knows what you're doing. And the fear is you don't know what you're doing either, because there is nobody. I was speaking to somebody this afternoon, nothing to do with United. It was a general conversation about another transfer involving another Brazilian and another Premier League club. And we were chatting away. And I was saying, do you have any idea what United are doing, or can you give me a reason? And they're well versed in the transfer market. They're very, very good. And they said, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. It doesn't make any sense to be all in on De Jong and then say you're not going to do any business till you've bought De Jong. And it almost is if like you've got £100 million to spend. And you're basically trying to get De Jong for 60, so you've got another 40 instead of spending 75 and only having 25. It's really weird. And, the conversation developed and I was like, you genuinely think we've got 100 million? He said, no. I mean, I think you have got the money to buy the players, which makes it even more weird. But why would you not buy anybody till you've got De Jong? It is almost like you've got 100 million and then you're trying to get him for as cheap as possible to give yourselves a little bit more. It's really odd. And also, the hypocrisy of it is that whilst you're trying to get De Jong, the players that you did want from Ajax, their price is going up, quite rightly. It doesn't make any sense. It will be a financial reason, but it doesn't really make any sense. If Barcelona do need Frankie de Jong's sale to balance their books, then at least we can have confidence that the deal should be done by June the 30th, says Oliver. And with Barcelona putting in a bid for Lewandowski, I feel that United and Barca have come to an agreement. This club has drained me even before the season has started, says Sean. And what's the truth around bids for De Jong? Last night they said 75 plus add-ons. Today it's 65, says James. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, James. I really do appreciate that. I still wouldn't be surprised if we announced De Jong tomorrow to swallow up the dividends, because you could have announced it tonight, you could have done it today, but actually you need to do it on the day of the dividend, don't you? Because if you do it on the day of the dividend, you break the internet, and I'll be talking about De Jong, you'll be talking about De Jong. Somebody might go, it's a disgrace that the Glazers have taken dividends, but it won't. It will be swallowed up. So maybe that's what they're planning to do. Bayern are considering getting Ronaldo for Lewandowski replacement, says Simon. I'll come back to that in a minute. Looking like we're in for a long saga for De Jong, therefore likely to delay other targets too. Basically writing the first few games off at least, says Joshua Bowwater. Yeah, they are in jeopardy. At this point, I might take a leaf out of Woodward's book and start following rugby instead, says Carl. And Mark, hi from the US. Thank you for all the content during another summer frustration from this club. Good news is Henderson is gone for a year. Yeah, well, at least we've got another year of David De Gea in goal. I'm sure that won't please. I don't care. Look, Hader says Pogba deal is done. Does anybody want to talk about Pogba to Juventus? Like, his documentary's gone down like a lead balloon. His move to Juventus is just not resonating anywhere. You know, good luck, Paul Pogba. That's all I would say. I'm not really interested. I mean, he's gone. Like, I think his career's going to go as well. I don't think anyone's really interested in him anymore. Let's see if he can prove us all wrong. But back to Manchester United. Very good question about the bid. So I did the morning show. Straight after the morning show, Samuel Luckhurst in the Manchester Evening News spoke about a new bid from Manchester United going in and actually mentioned 75 million euros, and I think he mentioned add-ons as well. Obviously, I did the video yesterday afternoon at 2 o'clock. That was the information I had, that United were going to put a bid in for 75 million euros plus 10 million in add-ons, which takes us to the 85 million. I clipped it and put it out this morning, but if you watched the afternoon show yesterday, good information. And then there was another story coming out, I think, from Spain that we were going to offer 65 million euros. We're not offering 65 million euros. 75 million euros is 64 million pounds. I think it's got lost in translation. We're not offering 65 million euros. Like, we can't have been negotiating for 9 weeks to offer 65 million euros. 65 million euros is what? 55, 57 million? That's crap. There's no way we're offering that. So yeah, 75 million euros, which is 64 million quid or something like that, is what we're going to offer, or somewhere around that, with add-ons. That's what I was told yesterday. That's what obviously some of the UK outlets have picked up on as well. So let's see what happens with that. I don't necessarily know whether it's gone in yet. It may be going in tomorrow. It may have gone in yesterday and they're keeping it quiet till tomorrow. I don't know. But if that goes in, I think it will get accepted, because Barcelona are, I heard today from somebody that there's a big signing in La Liga tomorrow. Well, Real Madrid have said they're not signing any more players. So I presume it's Barcelona tomorrow. So, you know, maybe we'll get a three-way tomorrow. Maybe the Glazers will get their dividends, we'll get Ten Hag, and Barcelona will get Lewandowski. I don't know. I'd like to think that will happen tomorrow, but I don't know. But I do know that bid is good information again, and it's always nice when you get it a little bit early and then it hits the UK press a little bit later. It's a bit like Anthony, isn't it? And a few other bits as well. International, thank you very much for the super chat. All these negotiations to save 10 million on De Jong, only to pay more on Anthony and Timber. It really is a circus, says Shahin. Michael Keane's brother is going to replace Matt Judge, says Cameron. Yeah, I don't want to dwell on this, Cameron, too much, because there's loads to get through tonight. But Michael Keane's brother used to be at United with Will Keane, now at Everton. His brother, Tom Keane, is going to take over from Matt Judge. Now, don't worry, because he's not an ex-player like Fletcher that we're just giving a job to, jobs for the boys. He actually has got a CV. I believe he works for some lawyer firm in London. He specialises in this sort of thing. I think he's worked on transfers before. So I'm going to actually say it's very easy to be negative and go, oh, jobs for the boys, mates rates and all that. But actually, he has got, from what I was reading, a bit of a CV in football, and he is a lawyer. So actually, it might not be a bad idea, because he's probably been around football all his life, but he's actually, you know, a lawyer who's involved in this sort of thing. It's got to be better than Matt Judge, who basically didn't have any clue about football, did he? So, yeah. Tabasol says that. This club, well, Tabasol says it oppositely. He says Tom Keane is supposed to replace Matt Judge. He's the brother of Michael Keane. The club is full of nepotism. This club is in the mud. You might be right. I choose to be a little bit more positive, but I don't know. Nicholas Walker says Man United's transfer policy is confusing. World Cup and 5 subs coming up in the next season, but let your talent go without bulking the squad with 6 or 7 out of 10 sort of players. Madness, says Nicholas Walker. I agree, maybe Barcelona is waiting to finalise the Lewandowski deal before letting De Jong leave, says Pedro. Look, tomorrow could be a big day. It could be an absolute flat, wet fart. You know, you just don't know. I think we might have a shock this summer. I'm hearing a few noises around a certain Neymar. That is Man United signing, if ever I've seen one, says Sean. I mean, look, very, very quickly, we're here. We may as well discuss it. Would you take Neymar at Manchester United? Let's do a quick poll. Would you take Neymar? Now, I'm not going to influence the poll. I mean, you can do that. I remember as being linked to Neymar 2 or 3 years ago, and I said I didn't want Neymar. Even 3 or 4 years ago, whenever it was, I didn't want Neymar. And the reason I didn't, the owners have dug their heads so deep in the sand that even after a crap season have started the transfer window as low as a lower club, says Pran. Why is it that clubs sell to Liverpool and Bayern at reasonable price, but when it comes to United, they're at the bank? Because they know we're crap at transfers, Kia, basically. And welcome to the Members Club, Manthan. Maybe players like Nunez as well, they want to go. But 62% of you are saying no to Neymar. It's a no from me, and it was a no a few years ago, because basically he's the biggest brand out there. Like Neymar is another Pogba, he's another Beckham. You know, he's a complete and utter brand, and that's not a bad thing. Brand Beckham wasn't a bad thing for United, really. Sir Alex didn't like it, but he did perform on the pitch. But he's not the type of player we need when we're doing a rebuild. You know, a player that could get very frustrated. Yeah, it's not the right sort of player to bring to Manchester United in my mind, and it would cost the bloody earth to do it. But it's probably the sort of deal Manchester United would do, seriously. But one from one Brazilian to another. Salah, welcome. Thank you for the super chat there. I do want to just give you a bit of exclusive information on Anthony as well. Remember, Paul Hurst was talking about Anthony wanting to come to United. Been on about this for a while now. Obviously, been quite well informed on the Anthony situation, and the price Ajax are meant to want is 60 million. United want to pay 40 million. There's talk, and Paul Hurst was saying it today in the Times, that there's talk of 69 million being the price. Why is it so expensive? It's basically because if we tried to get Anthony at the start of the month, when they hadn't sold Haller and a couple of other players, Ajax probably would have done a reasonable price for us. But because we've waited till the end of June and they've sold other players, they don't really want to sell Anthony. And although they know they will sell Anthony because they know Anthony wants to go, but they're not going to do it on the cheap. So Ajax are going to hold us to ransom, basically. But, and we'll have to see if this comes to pass, what I was told is United want to pay £40 million. I was told that was never going to happen anyway. But what I was told is this will involve add-ons, which is logical. People don't take enough notice of add-ons. Anthony is a 100% player that will involve add-ons because he's coming from the Eredivisie to the Premier League, and add-ons are made for a player like him because there's no guarantee that he will score so many goals. There's no guarantee that he'll get so many caps for Brazil. There's no guarantee that you'll finish in the Champions League 2 years in a row. So there's lots of potential on add-ons where we can be fair to Ajax but also save ourselves a bit of money, and then if he hits the add-ons, we're happy to pay it. So what I was told is that with Anthony, expect, if it happens, for it to be €50 million plus add-ons. Now, €50 million is what? 44 million quid or something like that. But it'll be a little like, basically I was told it'd be like Bruno's deal, where you pay about 48, but ultimately you'll pay about 60. And I think that probably makes a lot of sense. So I still think Anthony will happen. He's desperate to come to United. Erik ten Hag really wants him. United have jeopardised it. There's no doubt about that. The messing around with the De Jong deal has really pissed Ajax off, quite rightly. We have jeopardised the deal. We could have got it done for cheaper if we'd gone earlier in the transfer window. But I still believe we'll get it done. And I think it will involve add-ons. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's very similar to Bruno. 45 million plus add-ons, which is €50 million plus add-ons, which is what I was told this afternoon. So we'll have to wait and see if that comes to pass. But I actually do think we'll get Anthony, and I think we need Anthony as well. I did a video this morning on De Jong and how he fits in. I'll do one about Anthony in a few days when the deal gets a little bit closer. But I really think he's so important. Left-footed player on the right-hand side, very creative with his crossing, very fast. He's a rough diamond. He's going to have to... He could be another Memphis. He could easily be another Memphis and not work out in the Premier League. He's got... so it's funny, Robert McCormack was discussing something with us earlier and saying that he's watched him a lot play for Brazil and not for Ajax, and he does have a tendency to shoot a lot, and he does. Robert's absolutely spot on. He does shoot a lot, and you know, we see Rashford do that, Bruno do that, and it can be quite frustrating. But I do think he's the sort of profile of player that we need. Rafinha would be very similar as well. We need a left-footed right-hand side player to invert. Raymond, thank you very much and welcome to the Members Club. I don't understand how hard it is to walk away from a player. De Jong clearly doesn't want to come, and Barcelona are also asking too much. If I go to a dealership and they overcharge, I'm walking away, says Jose. Look, I'm happy to spend... I want to talk about Ronaldo, I want to talk about Eriksen because there's some interesting developments there, but I'm happy to speak just very quickly about this. The thing I love about these conversations and the thing I love about the community is I have an opinion, you have an opinion, and everyone else has an opinion, and none of us are necessarily right. So let me just close this poll because 62% of you don't want Neymar, which is fine and fair enough. And also TXN says, what about Ronaldo to Bayern to replace Lewandowski? We're going to talk about that, mate. You're not the first to say that. We are going to talk about that. But Anthony and Garnacho both off the flank, says Reed. And On not wanting anyone that didn't want to be here, says Internationals. Yes, so I want to just talk about this very quickly. So my stance has always been that you can persuade a player that's not coming here and they can still be a success. We've done it before. Roy Keane, prime example. Friday night, he's going to Blackburn. Over the weekend, Sir Alex swoops in. Monday, he's a Man United player. So you can persuade a player. Different set of circumstances to De Jong. We're shit and he doesn't really want to come here. I understand why he doesn't want to come here. We're a Europa League side. We're not a very good side. He must be looking at it and going, who else are you going to sign as well? I hope he is. So I understand why some United fans are like, this has messed up our summer. We're not signing anybody else because we're trying to get him. Barcelona are taking the piss. De Jong doesn't want to come. Why are we doing this deal? And look, you're not in the minority if you're asking that question. Lots of people are asking that question. And it's a good question to ask. My answer is, I agree, but put this hat on. Erik ten Hag is the new manager. He's saying to John Murta, I want Erik ten Hag, I want Frankie de Jong. He's massively important and I want him. And John Murta's probably going, but it's really hard. It's really hard. I can't get the deal done. And shall we leave it? Shall we walk away? No, I really want him. But he doesn't want to come, Erik. He doesn't want to come. I'll sort that out. You get the deal done with Barcelona. So I think Erik ten Hag is tunnel visioned on this deal. And therefore, I can't really criticise United trying to get it done. As I said the other day, you've got to put some of the blame, blame's not the right word. You've got to put some of the responsibility on Erik ten Hag. He wants this deal. He's desperate for it. So, on the one hand, I understand the frustration. It's a ridiculous deal that we're doing in relation to how long it's taken and the player doesn't even want to be here. But remember, Erik ten Hag really, really wants him. So you've got to bear that in mind. It's a big risk. It's a big risk because if it does go wrong, you're leaving yourself wide open because people will say, we spent loads of money on a player that didn't want to come. Lo and behold, he's failed. And that's the sort of thing that, I said this about Maguire with Solskjaer. He never wanted to drop him because he'd spent £80 million on him. So ultimately, he had to fall on the sword of Maguire. Ten Hag could be falling on the sword of De Jong if it goes wrong. But I tell you what, I'd rather be trusting De Jong than Maguire. Do you think United will come out and say Erik ten Hag needs more time to assess the current squad? Says Emily. Well, if that's the case, then I'd be devastated by that. Because these players don't need to be assessed. They've let the fans down last year. If Erik ten Hag wants to give those players a second chance, that's a farce. Let's be honest, did we all think we'd be here by the end of June? You have to laugh, says Shuddy. No, I really didn't. Would you not take Diaby from Leverkusen? Left-footed and runner, looks like he can play both sides. Nash, reasonable recommendation. We're not linked to him. Who else is linked to him? So I'd have concerns about how good he actually is. Ryan says, maybe I'm wrong, but I swear Barca sources have said they want £85 million, not euros. They want a total package worth 100 million. We are way off that, says Ryan C. Great point, Ryan. Great point. And this is what I mean, and this is what I said yesterday. United are willing to offer around 75 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons, which takes it to 85 million euros. Now, there is a bit of confusion about whether Barcelona want 86 million euros was mentioned before, but you're right, 100 million euros has been mentioned. We can't spend 100 million euros on Frankie de Jong. I think 75 plus 10 has to be the final offer, and I think we will get him for about that. Mark, mate, we don't need another winger. The Antony purchase screws Elanga and Sancho. No, it doesn't, Luke, because they're all right-footed. We have no left-footed winger. Rashford, Elanga, Sancho, they're all right-footed. Even Martial, I think, is right-footed as well. Mark, I've been watching your videos ever since you did a Schweinsteiger reaction in your bedroom in 2015. Must have been on a different channel. I miss that optimism and hope it comes back again, says Shuddy. I really expected us to have that sort of a summer, and maybe we still will. Look, we can still have a really good summer transfer window. We can still say fair play to the club. Look, we were moaning all summer. We were moaning all season, and when they got Erik ten Hag, it was like, yeah, well done, that's great. So the club can still get praise, and they can still come out of this with some credibility, but they'll never be able to come out of this that they have messed up June, and they have. We could have got Basuma, Hadara, Vardiel, Anthony instead of messing about with De Jong, says Lee O'Rourke. Well, I read something today, actually. It was... I think it was James Robson again, the journalist, and he was saying that John Murta was the one who pushed for Erik ten Hag over Pochettino, and I was like, probably true. Why is it coming out now? Is it does Merton need a bit of PR? Like, I'm like, you know what? Scott McTominay was man of the match against Burnley, but he was shit for most of the games after that. Should we just talk about the Burnley game? Like, John, well done. You wanted Erik ten Hag. You can't live off that for the whole summer. Like, you're the director of football, mate. You were involved in the appointment of Erik ten Hag. That happened in the early May. I said it was April. Your job now as director of football is to do transfers. You can't live off wanting Erik ten Hag from 3 months ago. God, if we could all live off a good performance from 3 months ago, my wife wouldn't have left me. You know, that's a joke. She hasn't left me, but you know what I mean. It's you can't live off things like that. You've got to move on. And yeah, look, your job as director of football, pal. Go and do it. Like, you know, to be honest, I'd love to be director of football at Manchester United. I'd love it. I mean, it must be very stressful, but if you get it right, the adulation you get, it's fantastic. But this is why we need specialists. We do. We need specialists in this role because it is a difficult job and it becomes harder all the time. Anyway, I do want to talk about that Ronaldo story, but I want to sort of bury it a little bit later because I don't believe it, to be honest, that Ronaldo might be leaving and might go to Bayern Munich. The next thing I want to talk about was Christian Eriksen. Now, I'm not massively excited about Christian Eriksen, if I'm absolutely honest. Because essentially an attacking midfielder is a low priority for me. But it's a massive priority for Erik ten Hag, and similar to De Jong, we can all have our opinions on that. But if he wants these players, then the club are right to get them. He really wants Christian Eriksen. I'm baffled why, because I expect to see a turnaround of Van der Beek. Bruno's an attacking midfielder, and there are some good young players coming through. So I'm very surprised that he's obsessed about Christian Eriksen, really. But he is. The financial package that we've offered is better than Brentford. Spurs have walked away. Newcastle, with some bookies, are the favourites to get him. I'd keep an eye on that. I don't follow the bookies in relation to transfers, but I never knew Newcastle were even in the race. So Twitter's saying that Eriksen is advanced, as should he. The last thing I was told about Eriksen is that nobody knows what his decision is. I think David Ornstein says he thinks he'll come to Manchester United. Remember I did a video, was it Tuesday, lunchtime? I was told that if you want to go do a percentage on Eriksen to United, go high. So I'm going to stand by that because that was very good again and very early. So yeah, look, I expect him to sign for United based on what I was told, but also on the fact that we're fighting Brentford, with all due respect. So I do expect Eriksen to come. Erik ten Hag really, really wants him. It's a free transfer. We can offer him more wages than Brentford. So I expect it to get done. Is that an exciting signing? I like Christian Eriksen. I wouldn't say it's an exciting signing because, you know, I've said it many times before. I think a centre-back, two midfielders, a left-footed right winger, a forward and a full-back are way more important than a cam. But squad depth, says Daniel, you know, great point. Somebody said earlier, World Cup year, 5 subs are allowed. If Bruno's having a shit game, Eriksen, you know, there's plenty of reasons for it. So, do you think they're already trying to screw Erik ten Hag, says Bog? I don't know. I don't actually. I don't think Richard Arnold or John Murta are trying to, you know, hang Ten Hag out to dry or lie to him. I think they're really eager to change the perception of Manchester United, but unfortunately, I think we're struggling because of the competence of people to be able to do their job still. Hi Mark, do you think we should try Maguire at CDM? Says okay, mate. Oh, you've got to laugh. You've got to laugh. Somebody did say, what would you feel like if Eriksen announced he was coming to United tomorrow and then we didn't do a deal over the weekend? Yeah, it's not good enough. You know, for me, Eriksen can sign in 3 weeks. I mean, he won't sign in 3 weeks because he needs to be back in training in a couple of weeks. But for me, Eriksen's are like, thanks for coming. Let's do some real business. And I think he'll be a valuable player, but he's a free transfer. That's not what we should be doing. We shouldn't be celebrating free transfers. Like we need to be more proactive than that. Good evening, Mark. Do you think Ten Hag will use Donny as an 8 with De Jong? Says Seb. Look, I remember Erik ten Hag talking about Pep Guardiola and saying it was very obvious that Pep Guardiola underestimated the Premier League in his first year. And I was impressed with that because I thought, well, if Erik ten Hag can observe Pep Guardiola and say that he underestimated the Premier League in year one, when Erik ten Hag comes to the Premier League, surely he won't underestimate the Premier League in year one because he noticed that Pep did that. But we don't have, and F5T says, I see a lack of direction, incompetence, deceit. And unless we get all Erik ten Hag's targets within the next 3 weeks, I won't rate this window above a 7 out of 10, says Joshua Bowater. Is Pau Torres still possible, says Piz. Yes, he is. I don't know why Pau Torres hasn't left yet, actually. Dybala for free, says that. We're not in for Dybala. But I've completely forgotten what I was talking about now. This is the problem I have when I start... Yeah, I know, remember now. So the naivety that he was on about with Pep. I have a little bit of a concern. I think Erik ten Hag talks a brilliant game and observes things like Pep didn't get it right in year one. But we don't have a defensive-minded midfielder. Last season, forget ten Hag for a minute, think about Ranić and Ollie. They only had Matic, and Matic was past it, let's be honest. We had no defensive-minded midfielder. CDM, whatever you want to call it. Because you don't have to play a CDM, you can play a midfield too if somebody's more defensive-minded. So we've got no defensive-minded midfielder. James Garner's not defensive-minded. Donny's not. McTominay doesn't know what he's doing there. Fred doesn't know what he's doing there. So we buy De Jong, and we don't buy another midfielder. We're going into another Premier League season with no defensive-minded midfielder. And I hate to say this because I've got no idea how we're going to play under Erik ten Hag. Whereas last summer I knew what Solskjaer was going to do. I knew he didn't have a defensive-minded midfielder, and I knew we were going to be in trouble like everyone else did. But I will say it, if we only buy De Jong in the midfield, I'm very concerned next season that we're going into a Premier League season with no defensive-minded midfielder. I don't know how you get away with that. And I'd be intrigued to see how Ten Hag thinks he can get away with that. Now, it might be a system thing where we're playing so high up and the centre-backs are so close to the midfield and we're pressing them that you don't need that defensive-minded person. But you still do. You still got to go to Anfield and the Emirates and the Etihad and Stamford Bridge and Spurs ground. You can't play high on the halfway line there. You still need a defensive-minded midfielder, and I'm stunned. We're either going to buy someone out of the blue or we're not going to buy anybody. But I'm telling you now, watch the video I did this morning. Frankie de Jong is not a holding midfielder, and his defensive output is not that good. So I don't know what we're going to do in that position. You should always have a defensive-minded player in the midfield, because it strings to your bow. It amazes me that we've not had a CDM or a defensive-minded midfielder for years, and it doesn't look like we're going to get one here. I still think it's the most important signing of the summer. I mean, I wish we would have got Declan Rice, but he's too expensive. Ali Zain, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for joining. Barry says, hi Mark, I've seen some positivity from you tonight. I love to see it. We will sell this club. Do not panic. Are the Glazers trying to force Ronaldo into a transfer request, says Alan. And hi Mark, do you trust Ten Hag without these new signings? Is that why our fan base is so worried about not making signings, says Thomas. No, Thomas, it's not that I don't trust Erik ten Hag. I don't trust these players. It's not that I don't trust Erik ten Hag to train the players that we've got. I just don't trust those players. That's the end of the conversation. I don't trust these players. I don't think they're good enough. I think they've got bad attitudes. I don't think they're trustworthy. That's my problem. And unfortunately for Eric, he doesn't know that yet because he's coming in brand new. And they'll all be smiling to him for the first... I guarantee we'll start the season really well. I'm not worried about August, September. I'm worried about November, not November, that's the World Cup. I'm worried about October, January, February, when it's not fresh anymore, and they maybe getting benched, and the ego comes back to the surface and the knives get sharpened. Could Alvarez from Ajax be an option? Could help next to De Jong or centre backs, as Billy. Apparently he's going off to Leipzig. I think he's a little bit overrated, to be honest. I don't think he's a player that would light the Premier League up. He has played each of Timber and Martinez as CDM at Ajax, and that's why he wants Timber, says John. I don't think that's what his plan is at all, to be honest, John. It's going to be a busy day tomorrow, not with transfers, but with our 11 million is going to, will it be one of their nieces, nephews, the absolute slime balls, says Sean Turner. Well, look, I said it at the start of the week. Tomorrow morning show, headline is written. I don't know, well, it's not actually written yet, but I don't know whether to put, but it's going to be about the dividend, because you know, and I hope the Manchester Evening News, I hope Sky, I hope everybody talks about it tomorrow, that Manchester United's first investment of the summer is to pay their owners when we're in £500 million of debt. That is a disgrace. No matter what we do the rest of the summer, it's the wrong message that our first bit of expenditure this summer transfer window is to pay the Glazers. It's wrong. It's wrong on every level. And that's the headline that everybody should be picking up on tomorrow, because it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. If they want to take the dividends out, they should be hiding it amongst signings and stuff like that. But no, they're so brazen, they'll go and do it. Is Tahith Chong leaving, and what right back will we buy, says Piz. I don't know about Chong. I don't know what about Chong. If we buy a right back, I think it'll be Dumfries. Love to get Anthony, him on the right and Sancho on the left. Can see Sancho having a big season, says Dazzo. Yeah, me too. And I believe we need to blend youth, new players and some individuals from last season and sell or even release the clowns or keep them in the reserves, says Kyle. Hi Mark, it feels we never have a plan B for transfers, so we always corner ourselves to pay more. Maybe ego issue, we assume we always get choice A, says Will. I can tell you for a fact, Will, that over the years we've very rarely got plan A. Mourinho would tell you, Van Gaal would tell you, they didn't really get their plan A choices a lot. I mean, just 2 examples. Mourinho wanted Perisic, didn't get him. Muller was a player that Van Gaal didn't get him. And they were both players that they'd put the work in on. Like Van Gaal had sort of spoken to Muller about it. Mourinho had spoken to Perisic about it. And then United blew the deal. So much for United having a deadline of June 27th for all their transfers. This is crazy, says Jonathan. I know. I remember doing that video. I remember that. I know that. Anyway, I've got to talk about Ronaldo very quickly. So, Portuguese report saying that Ronaldo is excited and believes in Ten Hag's attacking foot principles, but he's pulling his hair out about the lack of signings. Just before I came live, there was another story saying that Bayern Munich are going to look at Ronaldo if Lewandowski goes. Now, Portuguese reports, and I don't know where the other report was coming from, I've not heard anything like this. I've always feared Ronaldo would go, but that was a feeling. It's not a bit of information. So, if Ronaldo leaves Manchester United, it will be because of United's incompetence. Ralf Rangnick never should have left Man United. He builds football clubs, he knows transfers, and we let him go. Cristiano Ronaldo should not be leaving Manchester United. He scored 18 goals in the Premier League in the worst United side I've ever seen in the Premier League. Imagine what he can do for us. He's still one of the world's best strikers. He's under contract. He's here for the next season. We cannot be letting a player like that go and trusting the likes of Rashford, Maguire and Bruno and co. We've got to keep Ronaldo. The problem is, if we don't have a good summer transfer window, then maybe he will look at, saying, I want to go. Because, unfortunately for Ronaldo, he's probably got 1 or 2 maybe years left at the top level. Why would you want to waste another year at Manchester United in a team that's going nowhere? And maybe Bayern Munich would offer him a way out. But I don't think it will happen. His wages are huge. We'd have to have a transfer fee. But, you know what? Explain to me why we're so focused on De Jong and we're not doing any other business. I think it's a financial reason. So if there is a conspiracy theory that United would like to offload Ronaldo, what better way to do it than not make any signings by the end of June? Ronaldo asks to go, you let him go and then you make your signings. Like, maybe they want to get rid of Ronaldo's wages. I don't know. You just never know with United. But I'll tell you what, if Ronaldo leaves this club, I hope that there is a reaction from the fans, because he should not be forced out of this football club so that the Glazers can make a bit of money. I don't think he will go, but if he did go, it'll be because of the incompetence, and you'd have to have a bit of a conspiracy theory that they've done it all on purpose to make Ronaldo ask to leave. Why else would we wait until the end of June to do any business? I mean, the trouble is, with incompetence, conspiracy theories will reign. It's only a matter of time that we get news like the dressing room has turned against Ten Hag. He's not being backed. The only answer is Glazers out, says Mehdi. Let me just check. Was there something else I wanted to talk to you about? Wanted Ten Hag, Ronaldo, Lucas, Ten Hag. Okay, good. No class player would want to stay here. The atmosphere is toxic, says Aritz. Well, and as well, I don't want to mention this because we're trying to buy players. We're trying to, build something for the manager, but You know when you go away, I don't know whether you've ever had this, maybe university, school or work. We'd have the Christmas party when I lived in Dublin. Like the office Christmas party would happen, a few days before Christmas. And because I'm English, the Christmas party would be like the 18th of December. I'd go out for that on the Friday and I wouldn't be back until the New Year because I'd take a couple of weeks off to go back to England. And a lot of people did this because a lot of people came into work from Dublin, work in Dublin from like the country in Dublin. And, we had a few people who were, some people would be working, but a lot of people would be off over Christmas. So you'd have the Christmas party, you'd come back in the New Year. So you'd have a bit of a break. Well, Man United have played a bit of football, they have their summer holidays and they come back. The people I didn't like at the Christmas party, I didn't come back at the start of the year and go, New Year, Happy New Year, give me a kiss, let's put it all behind us. I still didn't like them. So nobody's talking about this as well. All this brand new start. There are cliques in that dressing room at Manchester United all last season who don't like each other, who are still at the club. There are players who don't like each other still at the club. We can't pin this all on Pogba and Lingard, and certainly not Mata and Matic and Cavani. Like, Pogba was injured for most of the season. Lingard didn't play. Like, there are people in that dressing room who don't like each other. They're not going to come back with a suntan and go, yeah, let's forget about it, Cristiano. I've brought you a lovely bag of those sweets from Mallorca, that everyone always brings back to share around the office. Like, not only are we an absolute shambles in relation to transfers, but Erik Ten Hag has got to solve a toxic dressing room where some players genuinely don't like each other. So not only do we need signings to, get rid of some of the crap from last year, if they don't give him signings, he's working with the ego lot who don't like each other. So, there's so many worrying areas you can get dragged into. It's not like Erik Ten Hag's walking into work on Monday and everyone's like, yeah, we all get on really well, let's get down to work. Like, he's also got to be very aware that if everyone's smiling and clapping hands and holding hands, they're lying. Because the reports he's had from Fletcher and Murta and maybe Ranić, he'll know how toxic that dressing room was. And if they're all smiling, holding hands, he'll be like, I'm even more worried because they're all pretending to get on now. So he's got a massive job, Erik Ten Hag, and it's not been helped by Manchester United because he's going in to a dressing room that is toxic and he knows it. He's got to deal with all that toxicity and he still hasn't got the players in. And I said this time and time again. If he had Anthony and Timber and De Jong on that training ground from day one, then he's got allies. And they haven't provided him with that. Majority of us United fans have to back Ten Hag. He's going to have a very hard job on what players he can improve, says Alan. 100%. Alan, you've nailed it. I don't know, and I have not read any United fan that is blaming Ten Hag, that is concerned about Ten Hag. I think the only concern about Ten Hag is that we are concerned in a sense of how he's going to do because his job is being difficult. We've got an update on Anthony here. It's coming from Fabrizio Romano. Manchester United are really interested and already had contacts to explore potential deal. Not the only club, but with Ten Hag pushing. Been told players camp now asking Ajax to listen to bids for Ajax this summer, even if price tag will be high. I mean, yeah, I love Fabrizio, but that's not really much of an update, is it? I mean, we literally spoke about this 2 weeks ago. So basically, 2 weeks ago, there was a little bit in Brazil, and I said, this is going to hit the UK press over the next few days. Anthony's desperate to come to United. Erik Ten Hag really wants him. What Fabrizio's just said there is that Manchester United really want him. He wants to come to Manchester United. It's not really anything we don't know. But, on the other hand, Fabrizio obviously has very good sources as well. And, I'm 80% sure we'll sign Anthony. I've said that to you a few times. We don't just need signings, we need therapy, says Patrick. And bench the egos, get in the academy kids. Rather have players who will turn up every game rather than players who have the talent but down tools at their time of choosing, says Mojo. If, and it's a big if, we sign someone, then I expect them to do something at the same time the dividends come out, says Kevin, which is tomorrow. Did you say the video of Bruno have a shout at Tellez and Fred? I did, King Designer, but apparently it was a joke. And can we also just add in as well, that Fabrizio tweet doesn't actually add any new information, but because it's Fabrizio, it puts Anthony into your head on the eve of dividend day. I mean, look, I wouldn't put anything past United at the moment. I mean, what is that update from Fabrizio? All it is that United like United like Anthony. Anthony wants to come to United. We've known this for 2 weeks. Why are we getting a big update about something we pretty much already know the night before the dividends? You know, I want a bid going in. I want deal nearly close. We're not getting that. We're just getting Anthony would like to come United. United like Anthony. That's not. I don't think that's good enough on a night before the dividends. But maybe that's out there because it's the night before the dividends. I'm hopeful tomorrow. Look, I love Fabrizio. He comes on the show. I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism these days because, you know, it's fashionable to attack people. But look, it's difficult, isn't it? Because if you watch this channel 2 weeks ago, I basically said that. Like, we really want Anthony. He really wants to come to us. And we want to do a deal with Ajax. So to get the same story 2 weeks later, the night before the dividends, I'm a little bit like, well, I want more than that. I want Fabrizio to be saying deal close, you know, final stages. This could happen over the next very soon. We're not getting that. We're just getting Anthony wants to come to United. United want Anthony. There's no deliverable there. There's no this is going to happen soon, is there? And to me, that's not good enough. You know, it's dividend day tomorrow. We need more than that. We definitely need more than that. I want personal terms agreed, says Raj. Yeah. We're interested FC, says Raphael. Yeah, look, we're all tired of that. It's not an update. And I'm not saying that from Fabrizio. I mean, Paul Hurst in the Times said it. You know, Anthony wants to come to United, but even if it's a large fee, like, it's the same thing. I mean, to be fair, Paul Hurst has basically said what Romano said 2 hours ago. So are we getting a bit of a brief from the club there? I don't know. But it's not good enough. And I think everybody agrees with that. It's just not good enough at the moment. I think Ten Hag is going to have to prove he can change the direction of Manchester United in his first season before players believe the project and want to join from other clubs. I disagree, Stuart. I would hate that to be the case. I think he will be able to bring players in. Mark, thank you for the great show. Have always been curious what your day job is. Curious is actually curious. I don't know whether that's a bit of a joke. What is wrong with Man United? We are really no serious when it comes to transfers, says Bright. Ariman says, almost another week successfully wasted. You know what? I can't believe we're nearly hitting another... I mean, look, we don't... The problem with tomorrow is it's the weekend on Saturday, Sunday, and no, the Van der Beek deal hit on Saturday night. So things can happen over the weekend, but really doesn't tend to because people are having the weekend off. I expect to see a lot of weird things on Dividends Eve and Dividends Day, says the Genius Knows. Look, Manchester United, love them, monitor socials. They'll have seen my tongue-in-cheek joke this morning because it got loads of interaction where I went, here we go, Man United's first transfer, dividends. You know, they'll have seen that. They'll know fans are very aware about the dividends tomorrow. They'll know they're in for a world of pain tomorrow. They'll know Glazers Out's going to trend tomorrow. If they don't have a signing lined up for tomorrow, they've got to put stuff out there to try. And I think that Anthony update that's come out from Paul Hurst and Fabrizio tonight is an attempt to try and calm the fans down about the dividends tomorrow. Because I sound like a broken record, but 2 weeks ago, I said it's going to hit the UK press in a few days' time that we're really in for Anthony because he does want to come and we do want him. 2 weeks later, we're getting that story the night before the dividends. It's not a progression. It's not a story. So why is it coming out? And it's coming out, I believe, because United are panicking because they probably realise nothing's going to happen tomorrow and therefore they need to try and calm, but it won't work. United either sign somebody tomorrow or they're gonna face the whirlwind of shit because, look, there's people who are protesting about these Glazers. There are people who are pissed off about this transfer window. They're not going to be, oh, it's all right, I'm going to ignore the dividends because we're interested FC with Lisandro Martinez. Like, we need more than that. We need more than that. Dan Smith, I've spoken about it. We desperately need a holding midfielder. A defensive-minded midfielder is what I call it, because Erik ten Hag doesn't actually play with a holding midfielder. But we need a defensive-minded midfielder. They'll announce Sterling tomorrow, says Havoc. He's a Chelsea player, mate. Well, he's not a Chelsea player yet, but he will be. Why don't we buy Gareth Bale? God, no. Bale can't do it anymore. Nothing is going to happen tomorrow, says Kieran. Look, I don't know anything's going to happen tomorrow. All I can tell you, and I don't, I like to give people a little bit of positivity. I'd be stunned if we did the Antony deal tomorrow. Can't see that happening. Really don't think that's in the pipeline. But that bid for De Jong, look, it's very logical. United have put it out there that they're not going to do any business till they've sorted De Jong out. I was told yesterday there's a bid going in. Obviously, that was reported by the UK press this morning. When is that bid going in? Are they purposely waiting until tomorrow? Will Barcelona accept it? So I think if anything's going to happen tomorrow, it will be a De Jong fee thing or Eriksen. That's the only thing I can see happening tomorrow. If we announce the Watford keeper, whoever said that, Chris Thompson, if we announce Bachmann, the Watford keeper, then I'm going out to the pub early. Yeah. I can't. I don't think anybody can deal with that, to be fair. Hi Mark, just a boring window, same old, says the donor. It will kick in at some point, but yeah, it's not been good enough. I would certainly agree with that. Yeah, we've discussed the Antony update. It's not really an update. It's regurgitation of what was coming out a couple of weeks ago. Twitter notifications are going off next window. Sick of this. Hate transfer windows now, says CL. United will be very disappointed by that. They really do value the social media interaction they get through the summer. But it's on their watch why they're not getting it. Players we want are on their holidays, so no one in till the end of the week, says Jordan. Doesn't matter whether on holiday. Doesn't matter whether they're on holiday, Jordan. You don't negotiate with the player. You negotiate with the club and the agent. Doesn't matter if they're on holiday. Doesn't matter if they're playing in the World Cup. Doesn't matter if they're bloody doing a cross Antarctica trek. We can still buy players. What you're talking about is officially holding up the shirt. Like deal done and fee agreed and all that. You don't need the player for that. We're not at that point. Of course, the thing with the Jong deal as well, which we've been talking about for a while, is that it's a weird deal because with Antony we'll agree terms with the player, then we'll agree the deal with Ajax. With De Jong, it's a very unique situation because he doesn't actually want to sign for us. The first thing we've got to do is deal done with Barcelona, and then we'll do terms agreed, because De Jong won't sit down and do personal terms because he wants to stay at Barcelona. Only when we've agreed a deal will he sit down and do it, because he doesn't want to accept that Barcelona are going to sell him. So he's not discussing with us at the moment. So the first stage with this is deal done. And that bid needs to go in. And look, maybe tonight will be the night. Maybe tonight I'll be live at 11 o'clock. I'm desperate to do that. But, that bid is going to go in. And will Barcelona accept it? If I was being ultra positive, I would say tomorrow Lewandowski's getting announced, because there's meant to be a big La Liga announcement tomorrow. And as I said, Real Madrid have said they're not doing any business. So if it's a big La Liga announcement, it's Barcelona or Madrid. So it'll be Barcelona. I can't see Barcelona announcing Bernardo Silva tomorrow. So I'd say it'll be Lewandowski or Koundé. And maybe that then prompts them to accept United's deal. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for tuning in. Please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner. Smash a like. Thanks to all our new members as well. You're really welcome. And thanks to OneFootball. You can scan the QR code by holding up your phone with the camera on, and it's free to download all your latest football news. Free to do it. Available on Apple and Android. Scan the QR code or go through the link in the description. First signing, offer a contract on Joel Glazer, says Stu. Look, let's see what tomorrow brings. I'd love to say let's see what tonight brings. I'm desperate to start reacting to really good news, but the sad thing is it's the 23rd of June and we haven't had anything yet. Let's see what tomorrow brings, because the headline's already written. Glazers take money out of Man United in more ways than one. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care and stay safe.